Hello, I'm Colonel Michael Greenberg, the Fort Belvoir Garrison Commander. Thank you for joining us again today for our virtual town hall. We'll be focusing on reopening Fort Belvoir, and we'll spend a lot of time today on the activities that will be reopening over the next week or two. I'm joined again by Captain Cindy Judy from the Fort Belvoir Community Hospital. Thank you for joining again for another week of this virtual town hall. June is Men's Health Month, and this issue of this is in the Fort Belvoir Eagle, and it's an important focus area. So, men take ownership of their health. We're fortunate to have a healthcare mission partner, the Fort Belvoir Community Hospital, dedicated to providing quality care to our military and our families. Those of us in uniform know that health supports readiness to answer the call when needed. Stay up on your PHAs, follow the advice of your healthcare providers, and work and play safe to stay fit to serve. This week we continue to focus on Department of Defense's June observances, National Safety Month, and the emphasis on summer safety with the National 101 Days of Summer campaign. With that, I'll turn it over to Captain Judy for some opening remarks.
So, I'll start off by just saying that this week's thank you actually goes out to all of those folks that are out there on Facebook Live that have watched these town halls. This is our 15th, I think, town hall that we've done since the pandemic started. And we did a little math recently, and I discovered it's about 8.7 thousand views if you were to average it over all of those. So what's important about that is that I hear time and time again as I'm out, out and about on the base from people who have either watched one of those town halls or they've talked to somebody. Those folks that are out there, you that are out there, are helping us to communicate that message that's so important. It's just the two of us, right? But through you and sharing those messages and those things that you learn on these Facebook town halls, you're really helping our community tackle this pandemic. So this week's thank you goes out to you. I don't know how many Sesame Street fans we have out there, sir, but I printed a little gift out for you today.
Okay.
So I think that it's time to say that today's town hall is brought to you by the letter B. So in honor of talking about Bravo, it's B. And if we were to have a number for those people who are real Sesame Street fans that know that there's always a number that goes with it, the number would be, I believe, 29 is what I'm hearing. So June 29th.
That's a true statement.
All right. So I'll just start off by saying, what does Bravo look like for us, right? Before we get into what Bravo may look like, I want to talk about what Bravo doesn't look like, okay? So what's important? Just because we're going to transition here in the near future to Bravo, we should still continue to maintain social distancing, wear those face coverings when possible, wash our hands frequently, and observe any of those workplace measures that have been established by commands as people start to return to work. So I'm very excited about a lot about Bravo. I can talk about some of those changes at the hospital now, or if you want to talk, and we'll do that during the question and answer.
Okay, yeah, we'll rotate back and forth today.
Okay.
So thank you for sharing some of the news for today. And so, as of today, we're still in health protection condition Charlie, but as Captain Judy alluded to, as long as conditions do not change from now until Monday the 29th, Monday the 29th of June, we will de-escalate down to HPCon Charlie. General Jones did make that decision last week, pending the one more time reassessment tomorrow to ensure that none of the conditions have changed where we cannot go down to that level. So that's good news. But with that being said, we also know that the virus is still out there. It's still dangerous. We see spikes in the system across the country. And so although our HPCon Bravo, our condition is changing to HPCon Bravo, that doesn't mean we're out of the clear. That just means we need to continue to keep safe with all mitigation strategies. And you mentioned them, but I want to mention them again. And so, again, face coverings. Face coverings have been a topic of discussion over the last couple of weeks. Face coverings are still required on the installation in all those public areas that we deem that we cannot maintain the social distancing of 6 feet, which really include all our APs concessionaires, our commissary, our PX, our ID card place, the hospital, and so again, I apologize up front if you go into one of those facilities and you're asked to leave or you're not served. An example, there's been a couple folks who have tried to get into the commissary who were turned back and asked to put on a face coverings. Again, there's other mechanisms out there for you in a lot of these services. So at the commissary, there's the one-click service, the virtual shopping. And so if you are one that has challenges with face coverings and you need commissary items, you could go online, virtually shop, pick up your groceries on the side of the building. You could also have someone shop for you. At the commissary or at the PX does have a personal shoppers program. You could order online as well and get services done there. So again, that's really important to protect the community at large and to protect our workforce. So I ask you to continue to use face coverings in all those public places. And then, as Captain Judy said, maintaining social distancing, the 6 feet is important. And then also making sure you use hand sanitizer or wash your hands when you go into public places. And so again, those are really, really important as we go back into the workplace. And then if you're not feeling good, please stay home. If you're working on Fort Belvoir or anywhere else, and your employer should understand, if you are not feeling good, you call in and you call in sick. So I want to go over just a couple of our services out there that we're going to be opening. So, and again, I think last week there was some frustration because we weren't giving any dates. Today I'll give dates. However, I'm going to caveat to say that those dates are contingent on any conditions that may change over the weekend. You will know on Monday if we go to HPCon Bravo, because we will put that out on our social media sites, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We will also post it on our worldwide web page as well. And again, we will make sure the community knows. And so what have we opened already? So right now the barbershops, hair salons, marina, and skate parks are all open. Okay, for outdoor rec, so, and bear with me as I try to get organized as we do this. So outdoor rec is opening on Tuesday, the 30th of June. Okay, and what that means is please, one, use the reservation system. But again, on these services, the services will open, but they'll be a little bit modified than what you're used to. And so for outdoor rec, the rentals, so curbside pickup, curbside drop-off, and then most equipment is available to rent, but not all equipment. So available items, again, I'll go quickly: kayaks, john boats, canoes, paddle boats, life jackets, paddles, large grills, dunk tanks, Viking trailers, A-liners, RV outbacks, storage trailers. Okay, so that's the list of those that are opening for outdoor rec, again, Tuesday. Okay, I know a lot of folks want the golf course to be open, so the golf course is opening as well on Tuesday. Okay, so for those who want to make tee times will open tomorrow, George? Tomorrow at 0001. So tomorrow at 0001, tee times will open, and then the golf course will open at 0745 on Tuesday the 30th. Again, keep in mind, we talked about golf courses maybe about a month ago. It will be different settings. So again, for golf carts, one per golf cart, unless you're in the same household, then you can share a golf cart. There will be no touch points, including no water coolers, rakes, benches, ball washers, and flags will remain in place. Okay, and again, as you get to each of these activities, there'll be signs that are posted, and so you don't need to remember all these rules. The takeaway really is that the services may change from what you may have been used to. Okay, next is community center. So the community center will open on the 30th of June as well. So ticket offices will have limited hours. Again, ticket office has been open online, so again, try to use virtual first. But they will do limited in-person transactions. Instructional classes will be limited to 50 people. And so in mind, as we start talking about grouping sizes, so when we go to HPCon Bravo, the grouping size will be 50 opposed to 10. Bizzelli's will be open as well at 50% seating. And again, face coverings for patrons and employees and all those other mitigation strategies will be in effect at that area. Okay, we talked about seating. So on Tuesday the 30th as well, the indoor seating will be at 50% capacity. And so AFES has already started working this, but your food court, some of your restaurants, your Subways, and all the rest on 12th Street and in the main facility, that seating areas will be open. It'll be at 50% capacity. The tables will be spread out at 10 feet in distance. The chairs will be spread out at 6 feet in distance. Understandably, if you're in a household that you potentially could be sitting at the same table together, I just ask if you're maybe a household of 5 and you have 5 seats crammed at the table when you leave, please put the seats back in the right distancing. And then libraries. So the library will be open on Tuesday the 30th as well. Again, different than what you have expected before. So the computer labs will be closed. There'll be no interlibrary loans. It'll be curbside pickup only. So you'll reserve the book online and then pick up the books at the curbside. And then just so you know, all these activities have gone through a recovery review board. Thank you to the hospital, to the public health emergency officer, to our safety office, and to all those that participate in that board. But each one of these activities across the installation have been looked at from all subject matter experts, and all those mitigation strategies to help reduce any spread of virus is out there. And so again, as you get to these activities, you'll see some modifications. If the staff asks you to do something, please, I ask you to abide by what regulatory or what guidance is out there, because it's really there to protect our workforce and our community at large. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to Captain Judy as I gather my thoughts again.
Okay, all right. So a couple of changes at the hospital, obviously, as we transition to Bravo. One of the single greatest questions that I get is, what about the visitation policy? So we are in the process of updating the visitation policy and getting that approved through the National Capital Region so that we align with all of the other facilities in the National Capital Region. But what I want to share with our pregnant patients is that when we go to HPCOM Bravo, they are going to be allowed to have a second visitor while in labor and delivery and in postpartum.
That's great.
So I know that was a huge dissatisfier for a lot of folks. There will be a little bit of screening involved, like there was for that first visitor, and we ask that they're over the age of 18 as well. So still not extra children there, but another visitor. So we look forward to that. The DFAC will remain operating as it is right now, and I know that that's kind of a dissatisfier for the installation because a lot of people used to come to the DFAC. I call it the galley, right? Mm-hmm. Sorry. So for lunch, but because we're trying to restrict access to the hospital and keep it safe for the patients, the staff, and the visitors, we're not allowing extra people in the hospital to come and eat at the dining facility, and so that will remain in its current status, with the exception of similar to what you're talking about in terms of seating in the DFAC. There will be more opportunities for people to have seating while they're there. So there's been very limited seating there for people who don't have like a break room to go to or something else, but we'll open that up a little bit, but still not opening that up to the base. Audiology has been one of those things that's been a hot topic for folks, especially when it comes to deployment, retirement, and readiness exams. And so I just want to share with people what we're doing. So audiology is one of those places where we have to still manage that social distancing piece with delivering that quality health care. And so right now they're operating their hearing booth one patient at a time, which is a change, okay, so that we can keep people safe. And so in the past, these exams were completed on a walk-in basis, but right now we're asking that people schedule appointments for this service to reduce their wait time. And so in order to make an appointment for an audiology visit, we ask that you call 571-231-2548. And I'll say it again, 571-231-2548. So we're also going to extend our hours because we can't see as many patients as we would have under normal operations, we're going to extend those hours, and so they're going to go from 07 to 1700 to try to accommodate more patients. So that's it for audiology. Curbside pharmacy. Okay, I'm doing my best to keep the curbside pharmacy, folks. I know that it's popular, and I know people don't want to wait in the pharmacy waiting area, especially during a pandemic, depending on, it doesn't matter what side of the pandemic we're on, right? So we're going to do our best to keep that curbside pharmacy, but we're slowly, as the volume of patient appointments increases, I'm going to need more of the pharmacy staff back in the pharmacy to fill those prescriptions and do some other things. And so I'm not going to be able to full-time maintain that curbside activation and curbside pickup. And so slowly over time, I don't have a date for you yet, but we're going to start phasing out that curbside activation piece. And so the curbside pickup will remain. But remember, you can activate your prescription using the internet form that's on our website, or by calling 571-231-3224. And that's option 2. And I'll say it one more time, 571-231-3224, option 2. So our numbers for phone activation and internet activation have gone up, but there are still a lot of people who are just driving right up and using that curbside activation. And eventually that's going to go away. So help me help you keep that service longer by doing that early activation. I had another question regarding elective surgeries. When are elective surgeries going to resume? We've resumed elective surgeries, and we've been doing them for quite a few weeks now. One of the things that we're doing is we're really balancing. There were a whole bunch of people who had surgeries scheduled when the pandemic started that we had to cancel those procedures. And so we're working with both the patients and with the medical staff to make sure that we're seeing all of those patients that had a canceled surgery, as well as any new patients that have consults coming in. And so it's not really a first come, first served basis. It's really, we're triaging those cases to make sure that we don't have anybody who has a condition that will deteriorate while they're waiting for surgery. And so they reevaluate that on a regular basis, and we're doing more and more surgeries each and every week. So that's resuming. But that brings me to another topic, which is procedures that occur in clinic settings. And so kind of like audiology, we are looking service by service throughout the organization to see how can we continue to do these procedures safely, right, to protect the staff and the patients during a procedure and still see as many patients as possible. But in some cases it means that we have to reduce the volume and extend the hours in order to do that. And so we're going through, like I said, service by service. But if you are in need of health care and you have a question about a particular surgery, and I think somebody put a procedure out there online that the staff is addressing, feel free to call and make an appointment, and we will accommodate you. It may not be right away, but we will work with you to get that care that you need, rather than just wait for a sign that says we're doing X procedures or whatever. So just call your healthcare team, your primary care manager, and they will get you scheduled for whatever care that you need. We continue to increase the amount of face-to-face visits that we're seeing in the hospital, but that doesn't mean that the virtual visits are going to go away either. I know a lot of people really like receiving their care, whether they're using the internet services that we do the virtual care through, or they're using just the phone visits. So we will continue to do those as we go from Charlie to Bravo. So care is going to look similar to what it looks like right now, with increasing services day after day. So that's my update for now.
All right. So just before we go to questions, some of these are questions that I'm just going to answer, kind of groupings. So we talked about all the things that we were opening over the next week. I want to talk about other topics that people still have concern over. So first, if you didn't know, right now, unless conditions change, Virginia is opening, or is beginning phase 3 on 1 July. And so the question is, well, what about the gyms and the pools and all that? Because those are opening outside the gates. And I hear you, I understand you, but again, for each one of these, we assess the risk, and at the end of the day, we make the decision. I make the decision whether we open them or we keep them closed for a couple weeks longer. And so, again, if you want to blame someone, come blame me. but again, we will open as we see fit, and we know that we can keep our community safe. And so we are about 2 to 4 weeks behind what the outside the gates are at, and we'll continue to maintain the same pace we were at. And again, we could potentially go backwards. And so if we can't follow the proper procedures, or we start having some hot cases in some of our areas, then we may pull back and start closing things back down to open up at a later date. And so again, we are assessing, and I appreciate again the hospital going out every week. Our public health assessments are going out and looking at every facility every week. The list obviously next week will get longer, and but they do it and make sure that our community is safe. And so child development centers, I know that's been on everyone's mind. And so we have made progress from last week to this week. So we have notified our first 250 families to try to get scheduling put back on the calendar. So our Child Development Center will open on 1 July. So 1 July, we will take about 250 children, plus or minus, and that's the start. We're going to phase it in. All our child development centers will open, but there'll be very limited capacities. We are looking, again, these dates may change, but at mid-month, we're looking at getting up to about 500 children. And then at the end of the month, by the middle of August, being up at where our new capacity is, which again, using the guidelines from our higher headquarters and CDC guidelines, we've actually, our capacity has gotten to about 800 of the 1,300 that we were seeing. And so those notifications started on Monday. They continued yesterday. And so again, if you did not get a notification this week, once the responses are coming back, we appreciate it. We're asking our parents to make a decision whether you want to start services, your child care services on the 1st of July, the middle of July, end of July, or 1 August. And again, we're putting them into the scheduling, and then we're going to the next group. And again, it's in priority, DoD priority order. Mission essential is first, and then once we hit the mission essential folks, we will then go through the DoD priority order going down the list. And so that is happening now. Again, please, if you've gotten an email, please respond back to our child youth services so they can get everything in place, so they can notify the next group of families. And again, we'll continue the process and hopefully be able to get a lot of our community back into daycare. Our pools. So our pools, no dates to open, but pools are a topic of discussion right now. I will tell you, for the pools, it's going to be like the fitness centers. So we will probably open up a lap swimming for our active duty and our first responders that require physical fitness for their job. Again, we are still going through that process, but that is one that we have started to look at right now. Fitness centers. I know there was a question on fitness centers, and why are we not open now, considering the fitness centers off post are open. Again, I'm going to reiterate that we are not an off post facility. We are on post, and those decisions are not made lightly. Okay, and so we've already done public health assessments on our gyms. We've reconfigured the gyms, and you should see the gyms opening in the next couple of weeks. Again, I'm not going to give you a date of next week, but I will tell you that is very close in the horizon, and we'll probably put that out at the next town hall. Again, for fitness centers, that will really be for active duty and first responders that require physical fitness for their jobs up front. Again, we will assess how the capacity is, and then we will continue to drive forward. If we have capacity and can let others in, we will. But again, it could be a week, it could be several weeks before we expand that out to the rest of the population. Religious services. And so I know, again, that's been a topic of discussion over a lot of our town halls. Again, not going to give you a date, but tell you in the close horizon that we will start to open up religious services to the community. I asked you, and we'll lay out the plan to the community, but again, it's going to be limited capacity at 50 in the chapel at one time. They'll have a reservation system in place, and so you'll make reservations, again, all the mitigation strategies in place. I want to remind folks that we do have virtual services going on every weekend. Please continue to use those as well. But again, here in the near future, you will see some services opening up. Also, the chapels are open during the week. If you have a personal need to go in and pray in a chapel or see chaplains, please reach out to the Religious Support Office, and they'll be able to accommodate you. Our Fairfax County Public Schools. So I want to highlight, I always try to highlight something in our paper. So page 3 this week, in our newspaper, you'll see an article. The article really outlines the county schools release return to school plans. So if you have a child in any of our Fairfax County schools, please look at the newspaper. We've kind of outlined the plan. And really just the bottom line on it is they're still working through the way they're going to deliberate education next year. There's really 2 plans laid out right now. There's a plan where you can have your child attend virtually 4 days a week, or there's a plan that you can have your child attend school, physically attend school twice a week. And then there's virtual, it's a hybrid option with virtual in there as well. You should have received a letter from the Fairfax County Public Schools that asks you for a response by 10 July. And so please look at those options. If you have questions, one, reach out to Fairfax County Public Schools for one. If you remember last week or 2 weeks ago, I discussed that if you're trying to send a message from a .mil address, it will not get to the county. So please use a non.mil address. You should get an email back or a notification back saying your message did not go through. Fortunately, we have the honor to have a special guest next week, Dr. King, the assistant, not next week, but the 9th of July. She'll come in and she'll be able to answer questions and give you an update on the public schools. She is the assistant superintendent for Fairfax County. For our gates. And so last week I think it was last week, Kingman Gate opened. So we now have Kingman, Tully, Pence, and Farrar gates that are open at this point. We will continue to monitor traffic patterns. The next gate that will open is Lieber Gate. And so we are working through that right now. As Lieber opens, Tully will go back to the secondary gate with modified hours. Again, it's not next week, but here in the upcoming weeks, you will see that. We'll announce that to the population, and then that will be the next gate that opens. Let me go to a couple of questions that came up. I think I addressed the gyms already. I addressed religious services already. On there's a question on leaves. I'm gonna hold off and not address that right now. I will tell you if there's questions on leave policies, go to your local commanders. Local commanders, because every service has a different policy out there, and then also every installation has a different policy. So if there is questions on leave, please go to your chain of command and ask your chain of command, and they'll have the answers for you. We talked about the food court opening up with seating. The post-exchange management will let you know if the hours will increase for those food court restaurants. At this point, they are remaining the same. However, once APHES decides to expand those hours, those will go out. When the signs will be modified, but those will also go out on social media. And if we have any updates at the next town hall, we'll put those out as well. A question came up for the commissary. Will the commissary allow shoppers to resume using their reusable grocery bags? The answer is not at this time. Okay, right now they are receiving guidance from their higher headquarter commissary management, and at this point they are still restricting use of reusable grocery bags. But as soon as they get additional guidance from their higher headquarters, they will be the first to pass it on to our population. I think we answered the golf course question. When will the veterinarian clinic open? So the vet clinic is open for limited services. They do have, and I'll call it curbside pickup drop off, but it's you go up, you drop your pet off, they come in, they come out, they pick up your pet, bring them in. It is very limited in services. They are really focused right now on our government dogs, our working dogs, and so they do have some limited services. Please reach out to the vet clinic and they can answer any additional questions that you have. Chief, do you have any questions that you want to answer?
Yep.
I'm going to bring up actually our fire chief today. Mr. Henschel is not available, so Chief Crusher, our fire chief, will answer some of the DES questions.
Thanks, sir. I've got 2 questions today. First question is, why is the section of Woodlawn Road in Lewis Village closed? It was open for a period of time and has since been closed off with Jersey barriers. That section down there has been closed permanently since 9/11 after that. If this is the same section that we are referring to, if there's a different section that you're clarifying, please let us know and reach out to us. But that has been changed as a result of some force protection efforts after 9/11. The next question is, will you address the documented holes in the perimeter fence and who tied ribbons to mark the holes, and was that someone from the base or people using the holes to come on base? The answer to that is we have been surveying all of our perimeter gates and fences to make sure that one, if there are any holes or openings or areas that allow for access that shouldn't be permitted, to get out and identify that with the appropriate DPW. Some of those belong to the housing partners, and address some of those issues to be fixed. We are tracking them. We are going through there, making some minor fixes and adjustments to some of our Jersey barriers, and making sure that those areas are not just open for an open thoroughfare that allows folks to come onto the installation. That's all, sir.
All right, great. Let me readjust. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the mayor program now, and just about housing in general. I'm very excited that our mayor program is up and running. We had a great meeting yesterday with the mayors, deputy mayors, and unit sponsors. I would tell you that we have a lot of great volunteers out there from across the 15 villages that are excited to make a difference in the community. And so they are out there now. Their point of contact information should be shared with their individual villages. They are the entry point into the garrison. So again, I talked about it a little bit yesterday or last week. I want to talk about it a little bit again today. They are the ones that are meeting with the garrison on a monthly basis. They're the ones that are going to take any concerns of our residents and look at those. And it's community concerns, it's not the personal concerns. So I want to make it clear that we do have 3 levels of escalation. Okay, we've talked about the 3 levels a while for those who live in residential housing. We have, put the work order in. The second level is really the deputy community manager or public works housing manager and chain of command. And then third is the garrison through ICE or through the housing hotline. Those are the way that you get after individual challenges that you have in your house. I'm talking more now of community challenges. So whether it's sidewalks, playgrounds, trends, whatever those issues are, those are where the mayors come in to gather those challenges that are in their neighborhoods and bring it forward to the garrison. So that I would ask that if you're sending emails to the garrison as an individual or as another organization, please redirect those to the mayors. The mayors know that, and several mayors have talked to several of the residents already. This program has been going for about 2 weeks now. Again, the mayors got a very good, we had a great session yesterday on kind of what some of the trends are in the villages, what to look for, and really how to capture that information. And so that I would just ask that you give the mayor program a chance to work. It is a structured program that allows us service members as the mayors to work those issues and bring them up to us. So again, a lot of the questions that you asked tonight, I've directed to the mayors, and the mayors will be able to address those with their village reps. I do want to address playgrounds, because playgrounds, just generally speaking, have been asked about. And so playgrounds right now are not open. No playgrounds are open. We are looking again in the near horizon of opening playgrounds. Again, playgrounds are a little bit different because there's not a lot of mechanisms to actually clean the playgrounds, and then you're putting some children at risk. And I know there's some studies out there. We're looking through those. We're looking through guidelines, and playgrounds potentially could be open in the next couple weeks. However, what I can tell you is we have done, the Garrison Safety Office has done safety inspections. Again, there was concerns out there at one point that some of our village playgrounds are not safe. I will tell you, when the playgrounds open, if they do open, that specific one that you're using opens, that means it has passed a certified playground inspector's inspection. If it doesn't open, that means there's something wrong with the playground. The villages of Belvoir are working on those fixes, and once that problem does get fixed, that playground will open. Again, I'm not going to give the details of which playgrounds and all of that. What I will tell you is, if a playground's open, it will be safe, it will have been certified, and it will be in the future. There was an email on electrical water boxes in Rosso Village. I will tell you, if there's a concern, please bring that up to the mayor. I will tell you, I know the villages have gone around and have secured all of those electrical boxes. Anything that has been brought up to the garrison or to the villages have been addressed. If there is something else that you find when you're going through or walking or riding around, please let us know, and the villages will address that. Again, that is a community challenge, so again, use your mayors for that purpose to identify those challenges. The other is just knowing that the mayors are empowered to really manage community challenges. Again, they are not the dispute resolution person. So if you have a personal issue, that is between you and the villages of Belvoir as your landlord. So please do not use them as your conflict resolution mechanism, or as for personal needs. They're really representing all of your village, and so please give them the chance to do their job. All right, are there any questions out there?
Yes, sir. Is the youth curfew still in effect?
Yes, the question was, is the youth curfew still in effect? The answer is yes. It still is in effect. Even when we go to HPCon Bravo, that still will be in effect. We'll continue to assess and see if there are any challenges out there. I do have one more before you ask the next question. So I did want to address River Village and Woodlawn Village. Okay, and again, there were some comments out there about some security concerns, so I want to address that. I would tell you both of those mayors, both the Woodlawn and River Village mayors, have driven the grounds with our Department of Emergency Service Director. If you may have noticed, some changes at least in River. We're working on Woodlawn as well, with some security mechanisms that are out there right now. So some of those are already in place. There are a couple other things that we're working on right now. That mayor has been directly engaged with the Director of Emergency Services, the Director of Public Works, and the Director for FMWR for some of those areas. And again, we hear your concerns. We are addressing them. Thank you, mayors, for those two villages for spending several hours over the last week really getting down and dirty with our directors to address those challenges.
Is the AER office open?
The AER office, so it is not open physically. However, you can call and get AER loans or AER counseling through the phone.
When will Wood Theater open?
And so the question is, when will Wood Theater open? They're in one of our categories, really in the later portions of HPCon Bravo. So it will not be next week, but it's probably in the next couple weeks. Thank you.
Is the parade field open?
So parade fields are open. Again, what I would ask is, right now the limit is 10 people. On Monday, when we go to HPCon Bravo, that group will be at 50 people. So I ask 50 people, again, if you can't keep the 6 foot distances, please wear a face covering. All right, I'm getting the signs, no more questions. So I had one more. So for at Tompkins Basin, so that is open, that has always been open. However, Castle Park, Soldier, Statesman Park, and Anderson Park, and the individual small pavilions, you can start to make reservations. The reservations will begin on July 6th. So you can start reserving those on July 6th and after. Again, those restrictions of 50 or less are in effect for those areas. All right, I will turn it back over to Captain Judy for any closing remarks.
Well, so first off, I did have one other question that just came through, and that was, can the drive-through pharmacy be moved to the PX? And as much as I would love to carve a hole in the side of the PX, it's just not possible. We actually walked over there to see logistically if that would be a possibility somewhere in that area to do some kind of a drive-through pharmacy process, and logistically it just doesn't work. We've also looked at some other, you and I together went out and looked at some other opportunities on this base, but that would be a long-range plan that is not really affiliated with the pandemic, but we continue to look for options like that. So the answer is no to that, but before the pandemic, we did implement a lot of changes that reduced the wait time at the PX from sometimes over an hour to less than 5 minutes. They were averaging less than 5 minute wait there. And that was a very successful transition. If you activate your prescription by phone, it may be possible to request pickup at the PX. Again, that's not curbside. We're not going to bring it out to you. But again, if you're afraid of coming into the hospital or you don't want to use the curbside service, it may be possible for you to pick that prescription up more than just the refills at the PX, especially if it's a prescription that doesn't need to be picked up on the same day. So I just encourage folks, if that's something that they have a concern about and they want to get those filled, that they just talk when they use the phone line, they ask that question. As far as closing remarks, what I will say is I'm Pollyanna always. I am the guarded optimist, and so I'm very excited that it looks like we'll be transitioning to Bravo. But I do remain guarded. I will tell you that we still are seeing positive tests come back, and so the virus is still out there. So please help us. I think that it's safe to say that it's possible that we get to transition to Bravo because of everything everybody's doing, all of those measures. And again, maintain social distancing, wearing the face coverings, washing the hands, right? Please continue to do those things so that we don't see what they're seeing in other areas of the country where they have opened up services and now they're seeing spikes in cases. And so I'll leave it at that, and thanks for all that you do, and stay safe.
All right, I want to close like I have been in the past. Thanks to everyone. Captain Judy always starts in the front doing the thank yous. I always end it doing the thank yous. But again, thank you for listening to us and receiving the information and being patient. For those that aren't patient, I apologize. And you obviously let us know that you're not patient either. But again, for the majority of the folks that are patient, thank you for your patience. Please be patient with our staff and with our installation as we are only trying to protect our workforce and our community. A big shout out to really all those that are out there that are continuing to physically come in, and those teleworking to really support our garrison. Second, an admin note. So we are not going to have a virtual town hall next week. Next week is the 4th of July weekend, And so we are going to take a break, and what you'll notice is we are going to try to start doing our virtual community town halls every other week for July. Again, as the information, there's not as much information that's going to come out. We will try to group and make sure that we get everything for the next 2 weeks in this session. And so we won't talk to you before the 4th of July, so everyone have a safe 4th of July. Please, besides being safe COVID-wise, with all the preventive measures, all other safety measures, please keep in effect. Don't text and drive, no drinking and driving, and all the rest that go out with all the safety measures. So please make sure you're safe. So our next town hall will be 9 July, which is 2 weeks from today. Dr. King, our assistant superintendent, will be our guest speaker or our special guest, and she'll talk a lot about the public schools and really what the next year looks like from their perspective. And then just lastly, thanks to my staff. And so what you don't see every week is Thursdays are relatively hectic for both Captain Judy and myself on Thursday afternoons. And so what you don't see is a lot of the prep work, a lot of the public affairs. Thank you, shout out to the public affairs. They've been doing this every week. I think you said 15. I've already lost count. But there's a lot of work. There's been some technical issues a couple of times because we're not used to doing this. And so this is probably a positive of this event to doing this more often. You know, periodically, you know, we're going to go 2 weeks. You know, when we get settled down, maybe it's once a month. But I think 2 weeks right now is probably a good battle rhythm as we go forward. And so thank you for watching us. And again, in our video section on our Facebook page, you can recap any of these videos if you have questions, concerns. We went too fast. We put out too much information. Go to our website and you can see the recap. We do appreciate your feedback and your questions. That only makes us better. And so if you have concerns or questions, please continue to reach out to ask the questions. Some of those questions may not be addressed here. Some of those are more of a one-on-one question that we either reach out to. We also have our unanswered questions page that we post some of the answers to some of those questions. So again, check those unanswered questions pages as well. And again, hopefully you think that we have communicated well. We are working to be as transparent as possible. As we know stuff, we tell you. And I know you're very honest with your feedback on our Facebook pages. And we thank you for that at times as well. But honestly, we appreciate all the feedback. So any of the criticism out there, again, you can continue to give those. We'll take them. We'll listen to them. I'll look at them. But again, at the end of the day, it's all about, you know, what's right for this installation. How can we continue to ensure mission assurance across all our partners, across the agencies? How do we keep our community safe, both our workforce and our community? So again, thank you for listening. We do look forward to seeing you here in the next 2 weeks. Remember, working together, we are making a difference. However, like we've said several times, the virus is out there. So please continue to use preventive measures. It does make a tremendous impact to our community. Again, thank you. Have a safe night and have a great 4th of July.